Howdy friends, Bexno here with another Runeword breakdown. This time I'm going to go over the early game Runeword lore, and why I truly think every build should have this, and how it can take you all the way to hell. So let's just dive right in. So the lore Runeword is a two-socketed helm with the Ort and Soul rune. This is going to be something that you're typically going to find in the late normal, early nightmare. This is actually, so I'll switch over to the Countess if you're just, in terms of how early you can get this. So the Soul rune has a 1 in 8.4 chance for nightmare, and the Ort rune has a 1 in 4.5 chance in, again, nightmare. So theoretically, if you do the math, in approximately 8.4 Nightmare Countess runs, you should get both of these drops, just how the probability works out for it. So very attainable, and it's going to be something that you can easily clear through normal, and then once you get to Nightmare, when things really start ramping up, this is where you're going to want to be finding Runewords like this and really start to build out your character. So into the actual what is lore and what actually is added to the helm. So like I said, this is any two-socketed helm. You can shop for these basically anywhere. I usually try and find Act 2 is the first one that I find that you can have two sockets, but it can truly be anything, and with the low cost of the runes, you can keep scaling it if you find helms with better defense. So first off, we get that 1 to all skills. This is going to just be universally, if you've ever even heard of the game Diablo, anything to specifically to anything to plus skills is going to take you a really long way. So not only does it boost your main attacks, but it will also boost your synergies and just overall drive the damage output and survivability of your character further, again depending on what skills you're using, what passives you're using, and stuff like that. Then we have plus 10 to energy. So this is going to be something that's in the early game where you're really mana hungry. So there's a weird balance in Diablo 2 where early on, like let's say level 18 when you unlock teleport as a sorceress, that costs a lot of mana compared to how much you actually have. So in the early game, you're trying to overcome this almost disparity between I need to be drinking mana potions every 2 seconds and I actually need to be killing things in the game to progress, to move my character along. So what does plus 10 energy mean? So basically it's per point of energy you get additional mana to your overall mana pool. So here's kind of the breakdown. So each character does get mana slightly different depending on the class. So if you were to put 1 point into energy from an Amazon, you would gain 1.5, Assassin you would gain 1.75, Barbarian 1, Druid 2, Necromancer 2, Paladin 1.5, and Sorceress 2. So Sorceress, Necromancer, and Druid are typically the more mana hungry builds, just by nature of their skill trees. Barbarian is typically just a kind of hack and slash type character in the earlier games, so it's just interesting to see how these scale. So depending on what character you are, plus 10 to energy, so you would effectively get 15 mana, 17.5, 10, 20, 20, 15, and 20, which again will take you a long way in that early game, just trying to progress your character. Also, it's the level requirement for lore is only level 27. So again, this is going to be before you unlock some of your end game skills, with level 30 being the final kind of skill tree point unlock slot. So you are going to be still kind of working on your character. So anywhere you can buff your character along the way, that's going to be really useful. Next, we have plus 2 to mana after each kill. It's pretty self-explanatory, especially like I said, if you are a caster build, or if you're a character that's really mana hungry. Anytime you can gain back some of your mana, like if you're a sorceress and you're just dumping spells every which way, that plus 2 to mana is really going to stack up, especially as your character grows and you're able to kill things faster. If you have like something like a fireball, if you're running that through normal and early stages of Nightmare, one fireball could potentially kill a whole group of people, and you can recoup all of the mana that you lost. Next, lightning resist plus 30%. Base lightning res is always going to be awesome. There's no range for this one, so you're always guaranteed to get that 30. Some of these later game Runewords, they have kind of pretty wide ranges for some of the rolls that you can get, so knowing that you can lock into essentially all of these stats is really great. It basically leaves out one less thing that you have to plan for in your build. Next, we have damage reduced by 7, so this is just going to be a flat, take the damage that you would have been dealt, take 7 off of it. You're still going to be in that early mid game, so anything helps in terms of survivability for this character, so that's always nice to have. And then finally, we have plus 2 to light radius. This isn't something that I think is super focused on. I don't think people get really pressed about it, especially if you play with your game brightness all the way up, like a lot of people do. Light radius is just going to be in those dark places. Your character the screen will just be brighter. Not too crazy, but it is nice to have, especially if you're in those earlier games, like you know, you're going through like the dark wood and you're to the underground passage and stuff. There are a lot of dark places in the game, so anything truly does help. So I'm not going to stick around too much longer with this one. I think it's self-explanatory. This is something, again, because it's any two-socketed helmet, it can really scale through hell. This is going to be something that I usually carry. This is like an early ladder start, or if I'm making a new character, I always try and get a lore right away. This is something that you can replace later on if you find something like a Shaco. That's obviously like the ideal, or if there's maybe a like a nice skiller tiara that would replace it, depending on what your character is. But lore is going to be a solid rune word nonetheless. So let me know what you guys think. Are there any other lower level rune words that you think are better than lore in the helmet slot specifically? I'd love to hear from you, and if you're enjoying these type of videos, a like and a subscribe would go a really long way. I've been super fortunate with the outpour of support, and it's been really cool just getting to know people down below in the comments. So I want to hear from you. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.